Hey everyone, thanks again for tuning in to Sin's Workshop. Okay, so today we're going to be talking about Windswept by Gwen Cole. This was this was the Book of the Month winner for July's Book of the Month title on Sin's Workshop. And I have to say, I was less than impressed with this novel. And the reason being is it felt really unoriginal to me. Honestly, when I started reading this novel, I instantly thought of Jumper, starring Hayden Christensen. And don't get me wrong, I love Jumper. I mean, not Jumper. I love Hayden Christensen. I thought Jumper was, okay. I've only ever seen it in bits because it kind of bores me, ultimately. But I think Windswept is kind of unoriginal because it does follow a lot of that similar plot line. The story follows Sam and Reed, two teenagers who meet and discover that they're more alike than they thought. Reed can transport himself anywhere in the blink of an eye, and he's part of a people who call themselves drifters. Big jump there. Drifters, jumpers, what a difference. And they have enemies. I will say this, they're enemies in the, like I said, I haven't seen Jumper to completion. I've only seen it in bits and pieces on TV. Their enemies are people who can slow down time. So you've got two factions of people with metahuman abilities. And they're constantly at war with each other. Now, it's kind of cool to see that play out, I'm not going to lie. However, it does fall into a lot of predictability and a lot of cliches, especially when it comes to Sam. I think Sam falls into that kind of chosen one trope. Her parents are from both factions, right? So she is a child of both drifters and the ones that can slow down time. And she can do both. And she's got superpowers. That just kind of falls into a lot of cliches. And it didn't make me like her anymore. Like I said, as I was reading this book, I was bored because every time I'm like read it, saw it coming, predictable. It is so predictable how this novel kind of evolves, and there was nothing in it that surprised me. The superpowers aspect, I was just like, knew it. That didn't surprise me, and it's okay when I'm just like, sometimes when I say I knew it, I'm kind of happy because I'm just like, haha. And you get to see the tension around these scenes. However, in this novel, because the story was just really dull and predictable, it wasn't the only time where I was like, I knew it. Knew it. So, I was ultimately really bored by the novel, and I didn't think it was really compelling to read at all. But, that's the story. It's not a long story, 240 pages. It's rather short, but it took me forever to read because I was just like, ugh, I have to read this because it won, and I make good on my promises. It might take me a while sometimes, but if it's a Book of the Month winner, it gets a featured review on my blog. So I was just not thrilled. I wasn't thrilled with the story, and I wanted to be thrilled with it, but ultimately it just left me wanting more. I wanted something spectacular from this novel. I didn't want to be thinking of the movie Jumper throughout the entire thing, because that's definitely what I thought of. I was just like, Jumper, this is Jumper. But more than that, what makes me a little uncomfortable reading this book were the character dynamics. I mean, okay. First of all, Sam and Reed are forgettable. Nothing about them stands out. And in fact, I can't even remember what they look like. I only know their names because I'm looking at my notes right now. I feel like if I hadn't written down their names, I would not even know who I'm even talking about. Sorry about my nasaliness. My allergies are coming on. But I think what also made this novel a little uncomfortable for me was the fact that Reed is stalking Sam in the beginning of this novel. I didn't find that charismatic at all, as far as his character. And in fact, the fact that she acknowledges that he was stalking her and is okay with it, I think it's problematic. I don't think we should ever just kind of romanticize stalking. There's nothing romantic about stalking someone. You know, he hops on the train, he follows her from the train, he follows her home, and he's stalking her, and it's a little creepy. And I don't think it's okay to romanticize it. That's a little issue I have with this, because it makes their blossoming romance a little uncomfortable to read, because again, he stalks her and she's like, "Are you stalking me?" He's like, "Well, yeah, kind of." And it's just like, and you're okay with it. Like, in my head, if someone were to say that, that would just set off alarms in my head, because at this point it's just like, okay, well, what if you break up? And you know what I mean? What if you break up? I know this is a book, but I don't think we as a society should romanticize stalking and be okay with it. I think it just opens up a lot of room for just disaster and tragedy, honestly. So I really was not okay with that, as far as their relationship goes. And again, it fell into more cliches. Sam's parents, both sides, like I said, she's all powerful, and Reed is the bad boy who she gets to reform. It's just a lot of cliches, and it didn't make me like the characters. It didn't make them stand out. It was just a whole lot of stuff I've read already kind of mushed together, unfortunately. I think the pacing is good. I do like this sense of adventure, because, you know, we do get to go to a lot of different places around the globe in this story, and I thought that was kind of cool. But ultimately, I just found the story uncomfortable and boring, and I wish I hadn't. I wish there had just been more to it. I'm sorry, Gwen Cole. I'm sorry I did not like your book. And I'm always sorry when I don't like a book, because as a writer, I know we write what we know. We write about what inspires us. Unfortunately, it's not always going to connect to all readers. But you know what? If you're a fan of that movie Jumper of science fiction, I think you might actually like this book. So I would say go ahead and give it a read. I give this book 2.5 stars. Unfortunately, it just did not connect to me. But, you know, my reading experience is going to be different than yours. Whether you like it or not is going to be entirely up to you. So I do recommend giving it a shot. if you're halfway through it and you're just like, I can't, then just stop reading it. You know, life's too short to be spent reading books that you don't like. However, you should always give a book a shot. I just started this book the other day. I got 3 chapters into it and I was like, what am I reading? And I'm like, I'm not interested in this at all. So I put it in my library donations pile because I'm just like, I got a whole pile of books from publishers that I'm actually really eager. You know, I book a month club subscription that I want to read. You know, I've got so many books that I want to read that to waste the time reading something I don't like hurts me. So, you know, definitely check out the book from your local library if you're kind of on the fence. But again, I do recommend reading it. Just because it didn't connect to me doesn't mean it won't connect to you. So, there you have it. Windswept gets 2.5 stars from Sin's Workshop. Check it out from your local library. You can also purchase the book off of bookshop.org if you so desire. And I hope you will continue to support this podcast by liking it, following it, and sharing it with all your book-loving friends. Happy reading, everyone.